Seeing his hesitation, Yuan Shu threatened to be angry if he didn't agree. Yi Chenyuan had no choice but to reluctantly agree. Yuan Shu quickly said goodbye. After spending a few years together, she suddenly felt a little reluctant. But she saw that Yi Chenyuan left without looking back. Yi Chenyuan kept himself from turning back. If he did, he wouldn't be able to leave. How would he spend his days without her? 2 months passed in a flash. Yi Chenyuan and Li Lao went together to find his treasure. Just as they were about to look for clues, they heard a heartbreaking cry from behind. They saw a woman in red surrounded by a group of men, living with a group of despicable men. Ji Hongyang saw Yi Chenyuan and thought he was a lifesaver, and immediately asked Yi Chenyuan for help. The ones chasing them immediately saw him as a scapegoat. Yi Chenyuan said that he didn't know her. Ji Hongyang immediately grabbed his clothes. Now nobody believed that they were not related. Without a word, the group tried to snatch her. Ji Hongyang shouted, okay, I'll give it to you. Then, she took out a pill that the group wanted. Who knew that in the next second, the pill suddenly cracked and its essence rapidly evaporated into thin air. Everyone was stunned. Ji Hongyang laughed, ha, I accidentally crushed it when I was shopping just now. The group snapped out of their stupor, and immediately became enraged. They quickly attacked. In a flash, they created a sharp sword. They slashed it at Yi Chenyuan. There was a sound, and it was stopped. The dust settled, and there was a man with a fan who had caught the huge sword. He directly stomped on the ground and created a huge crater. I can't stand men bullying women the most. Guys, guess who he is? I think it's him, because she loved him too much. He chose to leave her. Learning that the chick he had raised so hard was going to leave home, he couldn't help but cry. My disciple is all grown up. But as a master, how could he just let him go? Of course he has to secretly transform to protect his disciple. The group didn't expect the man to so easily neutralize their attack. They weren't his match, but they were still unwilling. It was clearly the woman who destroyed the spirit pill. Yuan Chu also knew that her people had done something wrong, and she planned to settle it by giving them something else. It's considered making amends. A small fish-shaped pill appeared in front of the group. The leader of the group exclaimed that it was a millennium-old spirit pill. Yuan Chu said calmly, this is enough. The group immediately said that it was enough and hurriedly left. Li Lao felt that this youth felt very familiar. It wasn't just him. Yi Chenyuan also felt it, but he wasn't sure. Yuan Chu was confident that her disguise wouldn't be seen through. He had used a magical artifact. Not only did his body shape change, but so did his gender. Even cultivators couldn't see through it. This wouldn't violate what Xiao Yuan said about him being alone, and he could also watch the fun by his side. He was just too smart. Yi Chenyuan stepped forward and thanked Yuan Chu for saving him. Ji Hongyang ignored Yuan Chu's life-saving grace and thanked Yi Chenyuan instead. Yi Chenyuan thought that this woman was truly crazy. He simply ignored her, and turned to ask Yuan Chu for his name. Yuan Chu smiled. I am Yu Chenggong. Just call me Brother Yu. Ji Hongyang by the side was unwilling and kept glaring at Yuan Chu. She refused to believe that she was worse than a man. The group arrived at an inn and ordered a table of food and wine. During that time, Ji Hongyang kept flirting with Yi Chenyuan and asked him to travel with her. But Yi Chenyuan showed a look of disgust. He had no intention of traveling with her at all. Ji Hongyang misunderstood. If he didn't want her, did he want to travel with that man instead? Yuan Chu didn't expect that she would get caught up in this. Yi Chenyuan said that it was his fault. Yuan Chu played dumb, How did it get to this? As expected, Ji Hongyang slammed her fist on the table. Am I not as good as a man? Yi Chenyuan said that at least Brother Yu wouldn't be chased down like her. Yuan Chu was speechless. Will my little disciple be left with no wife in the future because of this? Ji Hongyang wanted Yuan Chu to help her. She pulled on Yuan Chu and started to act coquettish. Yi Chenyuan immediately got up and dragged Yuan Chu away. Ji Hongyang gritted her teeth. Those two want to leave me behind. Don't even think about it. She likes her. Was he leaving her to go with that man? Did those men think that they could get rid of her? Ji Hongyang didn't believe that she couldn't compete with a man. The three of them arrived at their destination, Sky Lake. Yuan Chu remembered from the book that there was a small treasure trove that belonged to the male lead. He wanted to explore the road with his little disciple, and jumped down first. Yi Chenyuan shook off Ji Hongyang. After jumping into the lake, he didn't see Yuan Chu. He felt the ice-cold water. He was about to investigate when someone grabbed his hand. Yuan Chu, who appeared behind him, said, There's a very dangerous ice serpent over there. You should follow me. Yuan Shu knew that the male lead was chased by the ice serpent into the cave. But now that he's here, how could he let his little disciple suffer? But little did he know that Yi Chen Yuan had recognized him by that familiar care and concern. He had confirmed his identity. As expected, he was his master. He held Yuan Chu's hand. Okay, I'll follow you. Yuan Chu was so happy. Is my little disciple a little too gullible? What if he's a bad guy? With Yuan Chu's lead, Yi Chen Yuan arrived at a door at the bottom of the lake. The Dragon King's bridal chamber. Legend says that this was a room prepared for the Dragon King's beloved. Only those who have love in their hearts can open the door. There's also a mirror inside that shows a person's most beloved. But in his past life, Yi Chen Yuan was unable to open this door because he was a loner. Just as he was distracted, Yi Chen Yuan suddenly went toward the door. With a light push of his hand, with a loud boom, the locked door was pushed open. Yuan Chu's jaw dropped. This was impossible. At this time, Yi Chen Yuan was shocked. He had just thought of his master, and he was able to open the door. He really. Yuan Chu scrutinized the enchantment. It wasn't likely it was just in disrepair due to age. Does my little disciple already have someone he likes? As soon as they entered, a large mirror appeared in front of them. The mirror looked ordinary to Yuan Chu. How could it show a person's most beloved like the legend said? But in Yi Chen Yuan's eyes, Yuan Chu was the person he had always longed for. Yuan Chu, feeling bored, decided to look for other protection. As soon as she left, Yi Chen Yuan clutched his chest, his expression full of repression. The mirror that shows one's beloved only showed master, why? He had already decided to give up. Her appearance easily shattered all his resolve. Just as Yi Chen Yuan was desperately restraining himself, Yuan Chu's voice came. Yi Chen Yuan quickly found the origin of the voice, only to stand dumbfounded. The giant object in front of him was the source of Yuan Chu's panicked voice. Help, get me out of here. I can't open it. Yi Chen Yuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. His master was such a troublemaker. Yi Chen Yuan asked Li Lao why he couldn't open it. Li Lao explained that this was a Long Clan wedding object. On the wedding night, the bride would hide inside. The bride would have to kiss the object while thinking about the groom with genuine love, and then it would open. Yi Chen Yuan listened to Li Lao's explanation. He couldn't help but gently caress the object. The next second, the object slowly opened, revealing a bewildered Yuan Chu. Li Lao was stunned. How is that possible? That's the heart bond. Does this mean the little guy likes a man? The heart bond's legend must be fake. Otherwise, this thing must be a scam. Or a horny object. It will open as long as a man kisses it. It must be like that. After the palace was put away, Yi Chen Yuan waved his hand to store it within his heavenly pearl. But unexpectedly, as the palace disappeared, the hidden enchantment instantly shattered. Yuan Chu realized that if the palace disappeared, those seeking treasures would soon discover this place. Little Yuan is still a nobody. Someone could kill him for his treasure. Thinking of this, Yuan Chu pushed the still confused Yi Chen Yuan into the object. The object quickly closed. Now I don't need to worry about little Yuan getting bullied. Before long, treasure seekers arrived. However, since Yuan Chu was there, they didn't dare steal. Then, a voice called out to her. How self-absorbed is this woman? Any man who appears near her, she thinks is after her. Yuan Chu was speechless. Do I look so desperate? Just then, the earth shook. The ground rapidly cracked open. Yuan Chu quickly grabbed onto Ji Hongyang. Not good, it's the ice flood dragon. Only golden core cultivators could fight it head-on. He had to get Ji Hongyang out first. When he turned to find the object with Yi Chen Yuan, he realized it was in the ice dragon's mouth. The ice dragon was too fast in the water, he couldn't keep up. Yuan Chu decided to force it to surface. With a powerful strike, the object was sent flying out of the water, landing right in front of Ji Hongyang. Yuan Chu appeared as well. With a furious ice dragon behind him, Yuan Chu yelled, Ji Hongyang, grab the object and run. The ice dragon wouldn't let its treasure be taken. It went straight for Ji Hongyang. Ji Hongyang thought that this was his end. A sharp light flashed, severing the ice dragon's tail. The ice dragon roared in pain. Yuan Chu told it to retreat, or he would kill it. The ice dragon was furious. She stole his dragon egg and then threatened him. Yuan Chu didn't understand. Did the object have a dragon egg as well? But even if it's like that, I can't let him take the object. Little Yuan is still inside. Ji Hongyang safely stored the object. Inside, Yi Chenyuan dreamed of the Dragon King, and was recognized. He was given a dragon egg, and told to form a contract with it. Yi Chenyuan received a dragon inheritance. He vowed that he would find a way to hatch the dragon egg. Just then, he heard Ji Hongyang calling from outside, and loud sounds of fighting. He quickly asked what was happening outside. Ji Hongyang, hearing Yi Chenyuan's voice, told him that Yuan Chu was fighting the ice dragon. The ice dragon is strong, he might not win. Yi Chenyuan anxiously wanted to go help his master, but he couldn't open the object from the inside. He thought of the heart bond, it could sense one's feelings. Ji Hongyang had confessed several times that he liked him. Left with no choice, he asked Ji Hongyang to try kissing the object. Ji Hongyang was bewildered. What kind of operation is this? But this was the first time Yi Chenyuan had asked him for anything. He lowered his head and kissed it hard. The object heavily resisted and did not open. Looks like he doesn't really love me. Although he was still inside, he had a way to deal with the ice dragon. He asked Ji Hongyang to throw him over. Yuan Chu was about to use his ultimate move, when the object suddenly appeared, landing directly in the ice dragon's mouth. Yuan Chu was shocked. How did little Yuan get out? An ancient dragon chant came from the object. The ice dragon went crazy. He went full power. Finally reorganizing and taking the lead, he started chanting, "They are one who will leave. Slowly, this will soon disappear." The ice dragon is furious. They actually awakened the dragon egg. Dragon transformation. Lovers embrace heavenly abyss. Great river, now's the time. They charged up and prepared a huge, fatal attack. With a loud boom, the ice dragon was turned to dust. Just as Yuan Chu thought it was over, the object with little Yuan inside suddenly flew downwards. As a disciple, he had fallen in love with his master. The forbidden love made him feel pained. Now, he was trapped in the heart bond. Only those who truly loved her could open it. What if master didn't have any feelings for him? Yuan Chu heard that a kiss could open it. He hadn't heard of such a method, so he decided to try it. Yi Chenyuan felt a sudden panic. What if master kisses the object and it doesn't open? That would mean master didn't have any genuine feelings for him. He would be heartbroken for eternity. Thinking of this, he suddenly felt down. Yuan Chu didn't understand why he suddenly looked so gloomy. But that didn't stop his curiosity. Before Yi Chenyuan could react, Yuan Chu pressed his pink lips against the object, and then pressed again. Realizing that nothing happened, Yi Chenyuan's heart shattered. Why? Why can't it open? Why could others do it and not her? The intense pain in his heart started to show on his face. Just as he was losing hope, the object slightly vibrated. It cracked open a small slit. Yuan Chu's eyes lit up. It really opened with just a kiss. This is so fun. Yi Chenyuan stared at them blankly. Li Lao was speechless. What kind of heart bond? It's clearly a horny object. It will open for anyone. Yi Chenyuan finally processed what happened and his face turned red. His heart was racing. The heart bond opened because his master had feelings for him. With a flash, he tightly hugged Yuan Chu. Ji Hongyan's eyes widened at the scene. These dog men were showing affection in front of him. Yuan Chu thought he was just scared of the dark. After all, he was just a teenager. The excitement in Yi Chenyuan's heart was indescribable. The heart bond only opened after a while, meaning that master had feelings for him, but wasn't aware of it. He couldn't scare him. He pretended to examine his wounds, completely ignoring Ji Hongyang, who was a mere bystander. Yuan Chu had a wound on his back, but he was a cultivator, so it should be fine. Yi Chenyuan was shy and didn't speak. Yuan Chu thought his wound was scary. He said in a relaxed tone, "A man's wounds are nothing. This little thing is nothing." Yi Chenyuan, seeing him act tough, forcefully pressed it. Thinking of how his master didn't care for himself, he was very angry. So, he had to stay by his side. During the break, Yi Chenyuan told Yuan Chu how he got the dragon egg and its inheritance. Yuan Chu sighed. How could he be so trusting with strangers? He was an unknown entity. How could he tell others such important things? Was he not afraid of their intentions? Yi Chenyuan gently looked at him. He wanted to say, "I only trust you." Just then Ji Hongyang showed up again, trying to get some attention, asking Yi Chenyuan where he wanted to cultivate next. Yi Chenyuan said he wanted to go home for a bit. Yuan Chu's eyes lit up. Is it time to mess with the male lead? Ji Hongyang suggested that she could go with him to meet his parents. Yi Chenyuan rejected without a second thought. Hey, You're not allowed. What about me makes him dislike me so much? Yi Chenyuan is clearly not that fond of me. Ji Hongyang innocently said, do you already have someone you like? Yuan Chu also curiously looked at Yi Chenyuan. Yi Chenyuan didn't answer, instead handed the grilled fish to Yuan Chu. Ji Hongyang said he is much better to a guy than to him. Does he like men? Yi Chenyuan chuckled, maybe so. I raised him so well, of course he'd like men. What should I do? Yuan Chu was stunned by the news. This must be a joke. How can Xiao Yuan like men? Ji Hongyang was also dubious and didn't bother to ask for a better reason. Yi Chenyuan leaned in and kissed Yuan Chu. Yuan Chu had a bad feeling. The next second, Yi Chenyuan's lips were on hers. Ji Hongyang was dumbfounded. Even if he didn't want to be with him, he shouldn't go kiss a guy. Yi Chenyuan gazed deeply into Yuan Chu's eyes. Don't you believe that I love you? Before Yuan Chu could react, he kissed her again. So soft, so sweet. Master was so irresistible. Ji Hongyang ran away crying. Yuan Chu pushed him away in shock. She was horrified. How could he do that? Yi Chenyuan sweetly confessed that he liked her. Yuan Chu was stunned. Was he single because he liked men? Her thoughts were in a state of chaos. Yuan Chu wanted to change his mind. Yi Chenyuan clarified that he did not like men. I just like you. Yuan Chu was speechless. They had only known each other for a few days. Was this too rash? Yi Chenyuan leaned closer again. From the moment he appeared, he occupied his entire vision. Everything he does made his heart pound. He couldn't bear to leave him, not even for a second. Yuan Chu hurriedly pushed him away. I still have my wife to give birth to. She ran away with that awkward excuse. She was completely flustered. After a moment, she realized that Yi Chenyuan had deliberately chased him away. Next, he was going back to the Yi family for revenge. He didn't want his master to see that ugly side of him. Yuan Chu was stunned. The male lead likes men. How will this work? And why was her heart beating so fast? Maybe she was a sucker for pretty faces. According to the plot, Xiao Yuan was supposed to go home. She wanted to watch the fun, but she didn't want to be an extra. What should she do? Suddenly, she had an idea. Xiao Yuan doesn't like those flashy beauties like Ji Hongyang. Then, if she transformed into someone like that, wouldn't everything be settled? He was so smart. Early the next morning, Yi Chenyuan returned to the Yi mansion. His only purpose was to find out where his mother was sent. He learned that his grandfather, Yi Baichuan, had married his mother off to a demonic sect. It was the sect of the demon lord. They used the suffering of women for cultivation. The more pain women felt, the faster they cultivated. How dare they sell his mother to a place like that? He was going to kill them. Yi Baishuan's words revealed a weakness. He quickly used his binding technique. Just as he was about to make a move, a space tear appeared. A small hand reached out and grabbed the binding rope. Yuan Chu walked out of the rift, determined to protect his precious disciple. With a small tug, the binding rope shattered. Seeing Yuan Chu, Yi Chenyuan's rage suddenly calmed down. Yuan Chu looked at him with a heartache. He was hurt. Just a short trip and Xiao Yuan was injured like this. Yi Chenyuan didn't want to be seen. His face, full of hatred, must be ugly now. But, he had to avenge his family by himself. Then, he attacked. Heads rolled. It wasn't his first time killing, but the first time he killed his family. Yuan Chu knew he must be in pain. At this moment, his cousin rushed over with a worried expression. The boy liked him, but he only treated him as a disciple. Yet, when the boy got close to other girls, he felt very displeased. Under his cousin's hopeful eyes, Yi Chenyuan declined the invitation to go home together. He wouldn't go with anyone but his master. His cousin thought that Yuan Chu was an old monster in disguise. It was impossible to take Chenyuan away without him noticing. But, he knew that he and Chenyuan would meet again. For a long time, Yi Chenyuan was silent. Yuan Chu worried that his mother's experience would be too much for him. She walked up to him. Yi Chenyuan turned and apologized. He didn't want his master to see the ugly faces of those people. They were not worthy of being in his master's eyes. Yuan Chu comforted him, saying that she wouldn't judge him for their actions. You are you. Yi Chenyuan's eyes turned red. He always thought his mother was married off to an old man as a concubine. But, who knew she was sent to a demonic sect? Maybe he was just a cursed person. Everyone who got close to him had a bad ending. Yuan Chu suddenly interrupted her thoughts. She quickly patted his head and told him that it wasn't his fault. Yi Chenyuan pressed her hand to his heart, saying it hurts here. Seeing him in such pain, Yuan Chu suddenly hugged him tightly. She gently coaxed him, "It's okay, it doesn't hurt anymore. Master is here." Yi Chenyuan was deeply moved. Yuan Chu could only transform into her master's appearance. Exhausted from his emotions, Yi Chenyuan finally fell asleep in Yuan Chu's arms. It was already 2 days later when he woke up, remembering his behavior in front of his master. His face turned bright red. Yuan Chu came in with food. She thought that he was still feeling down, not knowing that he was embarrassed about wanting comfort from before. Yi Chenyuan awkwardly handed her a chicken leg to change the topic. Yuan Chu directly used her hands to feed him. After eating and drinking his fill, she realized that Xiao Yuan's food was the best. Yi Chenyuan said politely that master was also good. Yuan Chu perked up, "Then he'll cook for you often." Yi Chenyuan then believed that she could read his mind. He quickly offered to take care of her instead. Yuan Chu was a little embarrassed. Was she being too much? Yi Chenyuan gave her a charming smile, saying he was willing to be her servant for life. Yuan Chu rolled around on the bed, flustered. Yi Chenyuan sat by the bed and asked her what she was doing. Yuan Chu replied that she was working out. She ended up rolling right into his embrace. Yi Chenyuan was stunned. Yuan Chu's face flushed red. They were too close. Yi Chenyuan kissed her without realizing it. He couldn't understand why his master was growing so slowly. Yuan Chu explained that it might be due to her high cultivation. Anyway, there was nothing wrong with being a child. She wanted to be a baby forever. Yi Chenyuan subconsciously stroked her hair. "So, how does a baby behave?" He was teasing her. Yuan Chu was so embarrassed that she covered her head. "So strange. Why is my heart beating so fast?" When Yuan Chu woke up, she discovered she had laid an egg. A 10-year-old girl laid an 8-pound egg, but she wasn't happy at all. She cried and found her sect elder to tell him about this strange matter. Yi Chenyuan was shocked. He had told him about this before. When did he tell me he could reproduce? Yi Chenyuan suddenly remembered Yuan Chu's identity was Yu Chenggong, and he didn't know that he was actually Yuan Chu. Li Lao pointed at the egg and said it was his contracted dragon egg. Yuan Chu then remembered this matter. "So, this is the one you mentioned last time." Before she could finish, Yuan Chu realized and stopped talking. The two looked at the dragon egg with complicated expressions. The dragon egg tried to break its shell to help them. A subordinate noticed. The dragon egg was bigger than before. He thought of a possibility. He asked Yuan Chu if she had tested his bloodline. Yuan Chu wondered if the egg grew because of him. Does he have some special bloodline? It sounded powerful. Li Lao used a device to test his bloodline, but didn't find anything special. Yuan Chu was shocked. He's also a transmigrator, but didn't have a golden finger like others. The dragon egg ran to his feet and rubbed affectionately against him. Yuan Chu picked it up, and his remaining blood accidentally touched the shell. The dragon egg absorbed it instantly. This thing actually eats his blood. Li Lao checked it again. Then, he asked Yuan Chu about his cultivation. Yuan Chu thought about it. It seemed that every time he cultivated, he needed twice as much spiritual energy as others. Li Lao's expression turned serious. He must be converting nutrients into his body. This type of physique is most suitable for dual cultivation. The two masters and disciples were speechless. Yuan Chu instantly panicked. Dual what? This meant he had two dantians, yin and yang. The yin dantian stores the extra spiritual energy he absorbed. As long as he cultivates with someone, that person's cultivation will improve significantly. So, he's a natural super tonic. Yi Chenyuan felt uneasy. He couldn't let master be in danger. The dragon egg tried to get closer to Yuan Chu. This lustful egg, it wants to dual cultivate before even hatching. Yi Chenyuan pushed Yuan Chu behind him. A mere egg wants to seduce master. A few days later, the three arrived at Fengjiao Kingdom. They discovered that Fengjiao Kingdom had a princess with a pure yin body and people would try to capture her. After finally getting out, Yuan Chu took Yi Chenyuan to a festival. He had his eyes set on a lantern. As Yi Chenyuan was paying, a boy and a girl snatched the lantern. The girl was Princess Wan Linga, with a pure yin body. Wan Linga left after buying it. Yuan Chu was angry. That was the lantern that little Yuan bought for him. Without thinking, he chased after them. Yi Chenyuan finished paying and saw this. Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blew. The next second, something happened. The main suspect, the princess, was gone. Yi Chenyuan was worried. Master is also gone. How perverted are the men in this place? They use women's suffering to gain power. They don't even spare the princess of Yi Kingdom. Yuan Chu was also captured. Yuan Chu was cold. He ran off without permission. Little Yuan must be angry. Wan Linga, who has been pampered, was already crying in fear. Yuan Chu comforted her, and said that he would find a way to get them out. Wan Linga looked at him skeptically. He was captured too, so how? He was just a chi training stage cultivator. He's not as strong as me. Before coming in, Yuan Chu used a magic artifact to cover his cultivation, so he appeared to be at the chi training stage. Yuan Chu told Wan Linga that her father was a nascent soul cultivator, and would definitely come to rescue her. Wan Linga believed him. She asked him to take her out. Yi Chenyuan, sensing the dragon egg on Yuan Chu, arrived at the sea. He couldn't find where he was. He remembered that Master said the person captured was the Fengjiao Kingdom princess. He decided to go to Fengjiao Kingdom for help. Yuan Chu and Wan Linga were brought before the demons. Just when the demons were about to strike, the subordinate came to report that the sea area was surrounded by a large number of sea beasts. The demon's expression changed drastically, and rushed to open the grand formation. Yuan Chu took the chance to bring Wan Linga out of the room. During the formation's change, she sent Wan Linga out. Then, she transformed into Wan Linga. The demon realized that one person was missing. He angrily questioned Yuan Chu about the other girl. Yuan Chu pretended to be scared. Just now, a black shadow took her away. The demon thought about something. He ordered his men to send him to Madam for safekeeping. Madam, could she be Xiao Yunyu's mother? Soon, Yuan Chu was brought to Madam Mu Jingru's room. Mu Jingru had a nasty expression, and asked Yuan Chu who she was. Before he could speak, Mu Jingru said he was a fox spirit, and told Yuan Chu to not try to steal her father. Yuan Chu was stunned. He almost spat out blood. Is this really little Yuan's mother? She's completely different than what I imagined. Meanwhile, Yi Chenyuan and his team were ready to set off. Wan Linga flew out of the formation. Yi Chenyuan caught her. Yi Chenyuan asked him frantically where Yuan Chu was. Wan Linga thought, this must be the little girl's father. I hope she's safe in there. The sea started shaking. Not good. The soul-locking formation has been activated. The island is going to sink. Yi Chenyuan gritted his teeth, and forcefully summoned the dragon egg to locate Yuan Chu. Yuan Chu felt a pain in his mind. The dragon egg suddenly popped out. He knew that Yi Chenyuan was looking for him. Mu Jingru knew that his ring space wasn't taken, so she was wary. Yuan Chu directly covered her mouth. He threatened her to not speak, otherwise he'll kill her. Seeing her calm down, Yuan Chu asked if she was Yi family's daughter-in-law. Mu Jingru was shocked. Was he sent by the Yi family to take her back? She strongly emphasized that she didn't want to go back. Yuan Chu didn't expect that this woman didn't want to leave this place. Mu Jingru said that the demon was her husband. He treated her well. Not only did he give her a place to stay, he would help her find anything she wanted. She never thought of leaving. Yuan Chu was so angry he was twitching. Did she not see the women outside suffering and dying? Mu Jingru said that she had her own grievances, and she couldn't see what others were going through. Moreover, she had no control over her own fate. It was better here than in the Yi family. Why should she leave? Yuan Chu's expression instantly turned dark. What about Yi Chenyuan? You're living so well, I bet you've already forgotten about him. Her mother abandoned her son for over a decade. Now, her son came looking for her. She actually said, he's not dead yet. Yuan Chu almost laughed. Is this something a mother would say? What did little Yuan do wrong to deserve this? Then, the ground shook. Yuan Chu knew it was time to act. He stopped hiding and revealed his nascent soul cultivation. Mu Jingru was shocked. He wasn't the princess. He was lying to her. Yuan Chu didn't want to hear this woman's voice anymore. He directly sealed her mouth. After taking Mu Jingru out, he realized the entire island was sinking into the sea. He was worried if little Yun could find him. Suddenly, a loud commotion came. The subordinate reported that a kid was blocking their way. He wanted to see which fool wanted to die. Yi Chenyuan broke the barrier. The arriving demon general was shocked. He attacked without saying a word, but his attack was blocked by Yi Chenyuan. The demon general was surprised. This kid could actually block his attack. Yi Chenyuan was angry. where's the little girl you captured? Give her back. The demon general didn't expect that he was looking for the little girl. He sneered, you mean that little girl? She was quite tasty. Hearing this, the surrounding sea water started to surge. Yuan Shu felt a pain in his dantian. The dragon egg in his ring space became excited because of Yi Chenyuan's emotions. Why did little Yuan come here instead of waiting for me? He's really troublesome, but he promised to save his mother. He can't find him yet. Yuan Shu decided to destroy the formation first and break the barrier. Following his memories from his past life, he quickly found the formation's eye. To quickly end this, he attacked the eye when the demon general wasn't paying attention. Just as he attacked the formation's eye, the island also shattered. She sensed something was wrong. Someone had moved the eye. She wanted to rush back, but Yi Chenyuan blocked her path. Demon ancestor scripture, a mad whip and a strange jade pendant. How could there be such a difficult person? A half-serpent form appeared. She attacked Yi Chenyuan fiercely. Yuan Shu hesitated. If she broke the barrier, the sea would flood the island. Suddenly, she thought of a way. She covered the eye with her spiritual power. Multitude. The barrier broke. The entire island shook and detached. She yelled a loud break. The island's barrier shattered. Without the usual cover, the demon clan members appeared in front of the Feng Chao soldiers. They scattered and fled. The demon clan realized that the one controlling the array was the most powerful. Yuan Shu was going to make them pay for bullying her little Yuan. Mu Jingru struggled, but could not break free from Yuan Shu's grip. At this moment, Yi Chenyuan saw Yuan Shu and went over. Yuan Shu's eyes lit up. Perfect, she can hand the woman over to him. She directly threw Mu Jingru at him. Yi Chenyuan's body was in contact with his origin. He could clearly see who this was. He didn't hesitate, it was his mother. Not only could she see her child again, although these years had been good, she had missed him many times. The demon clan was in Yi Chenyuan's hand. If it wasn't for her clothing suppressing the killing intent, she would have been killed. He would likely die from chi deviation. They cannot take her away. He rushed toward them without thinking, but Yuan Shu blocked him. Your opponent is me. The demon clan's eyes flashed with killing intent. The two began their fight again. Mu Jingru, seeing her husband at a disadvantage, begged Yi Chenyuan to save him. Yi Chenyuan didn't understand why his mother was with this killer, but he couldn't interfere, because he was someone that his master wanted to kill. On the other side, the demon clan had completely turned into a serpent. The man often used a snake tail. He killed thousands of young women, and was hunted by the cultivators. The leader was the youngest foundation establishment cultivator in history. One person, one sword, fast as the wind. They quickly fought together. The demon ancestor couldn't win. But even if he was going to die, he would drag Yuan Shu down with him. He used his blood and the surroundings turned red. The demon completely transformed into a giant serpent. Yuan Shu was swallowed in one gulp. Yi Chenyuan was about to rush over to kill this snake. But before he could, the giant serpent suddenly exploded. It became nothing. Its stomach was quickly repaired. The next second, Yuan Shu emerged unscathed. The demon clan, losing all their power, slowly turned back to human form. Just as Yuan Shu was about to finish her off, a sharp scream came from behind. Yuan Shu turned her head. Mu Jingru had a dagger held to Yi Chenyuan's neck. Yuan Shu's eyes slowly turned crimson. How dare they threaten her little Yuan? Yuan Shu inserted her sword into the demon's chest. Everything went silent. What is this? What a mess. Listen, son. Mu Jingru gathered her strength and said something shocking. Yi Chenyuan, he's not my child. Yi Chenyuan's eyes widened in disbelief. Yuan Shu's hand stopped. This was not in the original script. Then, whose child is little Yuan? Mu Jingru was afraid, but refused to speak. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. An even more massive demon serpent emerged from the ground. The giant serpent grabbed the demon, and was about to run. Yuan Shu was shocked. That was the seven-headed demon serpent. He couldn't let it escape. It would bring great disaster. Mu Jingru saw her husband being captured. Without thinking, she rushed forward. Just as she was about to enter the serpent's mouth, Yi Chenyuan rushed over. He used his 1,000 silk bone to grab Mu Jingru. He held his sword and stabbed the serpent. At the same time, Yuan Shu began casting her spell. She trapped the demon serpent in a barrier. But, the black miasma that the serpent released prevented Yuan Shu from getting close. She couldn't see what was happening inside. She didn't know how her little Yuan was doing. Mu Jingru did not expect Yi Chenyuan to risk his life to save her. She was about to give up, but still held on. She asked Yi Chenyuan why. Why, when she wasn't his real mother? Why was he saving her when he wanted to kill her just a while ago? Yi Chenyuan did not speak. He just held tightly onto the 1,000 silk bone. Even if he saved her, she would not tell him who his father was. Because if she did, her real son would die. Yi Chenyuan said that it was okay if she didn't tell him. I am returning your kindness. I just want to protect you. That's all. Mu Jingru burst into tears. She had never met such a person in her life. The demon clan was just using her, and they were the ones that treated her the best. The only true words were from the one that she had threatened, and her real son thought that she was his shame. She showed Yi Chenyuan a soft smile. Little Yuan, you must remember that you are an imperial prince. The most precious person in the world, and that son of mine is not worthy of your position. While Yi Chenyuan watched in horror, Mu Jingru shattered the 1,000 silk bone. With a fiery expression, she was swallowed into the serpent's belly. The demon serpent turned to swallow Yi Chenyuan. Yuan Chu quickly intervened. The next second, Yuan Chu's soul felt weak. She fell into unconsciousness. How does it feel to sleep for 7 days? Yuan Chu's head was almost completely shattered. Yi Chenyuan thought his master, who was waking up, was so cute. Yuan Chu, now awake, looked sad. She blamed herself for not being able to save little Yuan's mother. Yi Chenyuan reassured her. Although he wanted to find his mother, he didn't want to see anything bad happen to his master. Suddenly, the old man interrupted the two of them. There were more important things to do. The old man explained everything to Yuan Chu about Yi Chenyuan's identity. Yuan Chu's jaw dropped. This wasn't in the original script, and that kid that stole little Yuan's identity even sent people to chase him down. She had to help little Yuan take everything back, but Yi Chenyuan refused her. He hadn't even settled accounts with her yet for the dangerous venture to the Hunyuan sect. She must stay in the Heavenly Pearl and rest properly. Yuan Chu pitifully tugged at his sleeve. Disciple, you can't treat your master like this. She lifted her large, innocent eyes and tried to act cute. Yi Chen. He glared at her. Yuan Chu pouted. Little Yuan was too fierce. If it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have found the old geezer from the Hunyuan sect. Not only was she not rewarded, but she was also blamed. There was no justice. Yi Chenyuan was afraid that he would soften his heart, so he turned away from her. She needed to reflect. Yuan Chu's lips trembled. She burst into tears. Wah, little Yuan is bullying me. The old man was heartbroken and asked Yi Chenyuan why he was bullying her. Yi Chenyuan directly took out the Heavenly Pearl. Yi Chenyuan, who had come out, was clutching his heart. Master was just too cute. He almost couldn't handle it. Wan Linga came looking for them, and told Yi Chenyuan about a heavenly mystic secret realm that would open in 3 days, and invited him to go together. Yi Chenyuan thought for a moment. He agreed. He could bring Master with him to have some fun, so she wouldn't be so spoiled. Wan Linga left. Halfway there, she remembered she forgot to mention. This secret realm could only be entered by those below the core formation stage. But it should be fine, right? After all, Yi Chenyuan is a protagonist. Yuan Chu and the others in the Heavenly Pearl also learned about the secret realm. Others recalled that in the secret realm, the male lead would have an encounter. But because his liver hurt, many things were forgotten. She didn't know if the encounter still existed, but the treasures were definitely there. 3 days later, cultivators from all over would go to the entrance of the secret realm. Before entering, Yuan Chu gave Yi Chenyuan a compass. Everyone would be randomly scattered. They could use this compass to find each other. The two went into the teleportation array, one after the other. But, the moment Yi Chenyuan entered, the teleportation array spat out a ball. And that ball was Yuan Chu. Yuan Chu didn't expect that the secret realm had level restrictions. Would little Yuan be okay inside by himself? Yi Chenyuan realized Yuan Chu was kicked out of the secret realm, and he was desperate to go back. But the entrance had already closed. Li Lao leisurely comforted him. You'll be able to leave in a month. That girl will be well behaved, and she won't cause any trouble. As he said this, even Li Lao didn't believe it. She should be able to pass a trial, right? The princess wanted to destroy a pure yin body. She decided to find her and perform a nucleic acid test. Just as Yi Chenyuan was worrying about his master being kicked out of the secret realm, the compass was shaking urgently. Yi Chenyuan sensed that she might be in danger. At this moment, Wan Linga was being cornered by several men. A perverted man was looking at her with lustful eyes. He had been eyeing Wan Linga's body for a long time. Illusory Spirit 2, that visual novel. Was he going to experience that design again? Just as she was about to fall into their hands, Wan Linga closed her eyes in fear. In the nick of time, Yi Chenyuan appeared and blocked the attack. The leading man was in disbelief. He had used all his strength just now, but it was easily neutralized by the man in front of him. Under Yi Chenyuan's cold gaze, the few of them knew they couldn't win. Wan Linga looked at Yi Chenyuan's handsome face under the moonlight. At this moment, her heart skipped a beat. She whispered to Yi Chenyuan to go and clean himself. Wan Linga was in pain. Because of this damn physique, she had experienced these disgusting things more than once. She hated that he could not protect her, and was even killed by others. She hated the pure yin body. She had to find a way to change this. While the beauty was bathing, Yi Chenyuan was absent-minded. He was thinking about Yuan Chu. He wondered if she was eating and sleeping well without him. If she was upset, who would coax her? Moreover, his master's physique was even more attractive than Wan Linga. He couldn't let his master fall into such danger. What should he do? He missed his master so much after being apart for such a short time. He heard movement behind him. Yi Chenyuan thought that Wan Linga had finished washing up, and turned around. He didn't expect to see Wan Linga standing there in flimsy clothing. Yi Chenyuan closed his eyes, and Wan Linga leaned forward. For so many years, she was being targeted because of her pure yin body, but she didn't want to give it to them. But Yi Chenyuan was different. He was a gentleman. She wanted Yi Chenyuan to help her break this. Before she could finish her words, a robe was thrown on Wan Linga. Yi Chenyuan warned her not to do such things in the future. A woman's body can only be given to her beloved. Wan Linga felt a little lost. But Yi Chenyuan's tenderness still made her heart beat faster. She couldn't help but ask Yi Chenyuan if he had someone he liked. Without thinking, Yi Chenyuan said, yes. Wan Linga felt a sharp pain in her heart. She turned away and hurried to leave. Li Lao was in disbelief. How did he not know about this? Did he really like that starry-eyed boy? This was a dangerous thought. Yi Chenyuan told him something even more shocking. What if I said that the person I like is my master? Have you ever seen a silent tree drink? Yuan Chu was shocked by the sect leader's voice. The sect leader told him that the virtual electric maze was about to open. Yuan Chu's eyes lit up. He remembered that in his past life, this secret realm had a source spirit pearl, and the source spirit pearl was indispensable for the Sujing. Anyway, it would be boring to wait for little Yuan. He decided to find the pearl first. As soon as he stepped out, Yuan Chu was planning to go up when an unknown object pushed him down. On closer inspection, it was that trashy Wei Xingji. Wei Xingji didn't expect to meet her here. He came because he heard that there was a secret realm, but he didn't know that the mountain was affected by gravity, so he couldn't fly and had to climb up. And if he was attacked by a beast while climbing, he would be done for. Yuan Chu looked up at the towering mountain and scoffed. Are you kidding me? To avoid being bored, Yuan Chu invited Wei Xingji to go up together. Anything they found, they would split. Wei Xingji's eyes immediately turned into coins. Are you serious? Yuan Chu didn't expect that someone would make such an unreasonable request. But he wanted the source spirit pearl, so he agreed. But after walking a few steps, Yuan Chu became unhappy. How long had it been since he walked? He pulled out a levitation charm, and found that it really worked. He took out a stack of talismans, preparing to fly up with Wei Xingji. Wei Xingji stared intently at the talismans. If you use those, can I have them all? Yuan Chu was speechless. He meant he'd rather climb than use the talismans. Wei Xingji nodded without hesitation. He thought Yuan Chu was too extravagant. A stack of those grade levitation talismans could be sold for a lot of money. Using them to climb a mountain was too wasteful. Yuan Chu was embarrassed by his staring, so he agreed. So, Wei Xingji started to climb the mountain. Yuan Chu found him amusing. There were people who were willing to do anything for money, but he soon lost his smile. Along the way, he picked every stone, every flower, and every herb. He wouldn't even let go of the petals of a tree. Yuan Chu could not take it anymore. he directly took out a pile of magic artifacts. If he would quickly get on the way, he would give them all to him. Wei Shengji's eyes lit up again, and he agreed immediately. Yuan Shu swore that as soon as he got the spirit pearl, he would part ways with this embarrassing guy. They arrived at the bottom of the mountain. If Yuan Shu remembered correctly, breaking that tree would open the entrance. He raised his hand, and the tree was split in half. As expected, the sky instantly turned dark. Lightning flashed. A large crack quickly opened on the ground. The two instantly fell down. When Yuan Shu woke up, he discovered the surroundings were dark, and Wei Xingji was gone. Suddenly, he heard a strange sound. And then, Yuan Shu was dressed in an empress clothing. She was in a majestic palace, surrounded by people who served her. Yuan Shu was speechless. Why did those old guys from ancient times always use illusions to test people? Being an empress was glorious, but the greater the power, the greater the responsibility. He crushed the illusion, and it shattered. The next moment, he found himself in a treasure vault. Yuan Shu thought, as expected, he liked stealing other people's treasures more. Yuan Shu easily broke the next illusion. Just when he thought it was nothing more than that, an old voice came from the void. Humans cannot be without desire. Reveal your desires in this illusion. Damn it, is this a high-level illusion that can see through people's hearts? A black spear finally broke through the illusion. It was aimed directly at Yuan Shu's heart. His beloved girl was about to die. A pain struck his heart from 10,000 miles away. Yi Chenyuan clutched his chest. An uneasy feeling gripped his heart. There was still time before the secret realm opened. He wondered if his master was waiting patiently for him outside. At this time, the compass interrupted his thoughts. He was going in circles, trying to find the treasure. Wan Linga thought there was something good there. So, she ran over excitedly. But it was empty. Yi Chenyuan felt that something was wrong. Suddenly, the ground cracked. A dragon worm burst out of the ground. Yi Chenyuan immediately protected Wan Linga behind him, while he was dealing with the dragon worm. Otherwise, Linga would have been captured. The previous weirdo had already grabbed him. Yi Chenyuan immediately sensed it, quickly approaching. The weirdo didn't expect Yi Chenyuan could split to save someone. At that time, the secret passage opened. Yi Chenyuan knew he couldn't delay any longer. He speeded up, just as he was about to take them out. His waist was grabbed. The weirdo wanted to drag him down to death together. Yi Chenyuan told Wan Ling to go first. Just as he was about to attack, there was the sound of a white dragon. The white dragon was in trouble. That means master. When Yi Chenyuan killed the deep-sea dragon, the passage was already closed. Elderly told him that the next opening would be in 2 years. Yi Chenyuan couldn't wait 2 years. Master must be in danger. No matter what, he had to save her. Elderly knew he was serious and was about to take action. But, could he just let Yuan Shu and his disciple continue this way? Surely, such questions weren't for the old. And besides, he couldn't just stand by. Elderly told Yi Chenyuan of a technique. It could transfer his soul to another within a short time. Meanwhile, Wei Xingji woke up in a different place. He found himself in a strange realm, and Yuan Shu was also with him, only to realize that Yuan Shu wasn't nearby. When he found Yuan Shu, he saw her soul covered with red mist, and there was no spiritual energy in her. Wei Xingji took her to find a doctor, but he was told that she had been poisoned with a high-level poison, and she would die. She could only die again and again in this realm, until finally, her soul couldn't take it anymore. In Yuan Shu's realm, she was being pierced by a strange weapon. With a sound, Yuan Shu fell again and again. Is there anyone who can save me? His beloved girl was about to die. In another place, he instantly felt a sharp pain in his heart. He used his technique to send his soul to her. Seeing Yuan Shu's weak spirit, Yi Chenyuan hated himself for not protecting her. At this moment, Yuan Shu was suffering endless pain. The woman in front of her shot her again and again, and she fell over and over. Then, she revived again. She didn't know who she was, nor why she was here. Suddenly, the woman appeared behind her again, still holding up her weapon, aiming at her. Yuan Shu knew, if she got hit this time, she would die. With a sound, she closed her eyes in despair. A few seconds later, she found that she didn't feel any pain. Opening her eyes, she saw a boy who was out of place. He blocked the attack for her. Yi Chenyuan looked at the face so similar to little Yuan Shu, realizing that this must be how master looks when she grows up. Just as perfect as he had imagined, she quickly went into his embrace. He was a bit flustered. Who was he? Why did his heart ache so much seeing him hurt? Yi Chenyuan embraced the older version of himself. You're mine now. At that moment, his body began to hurt. Yi Chenyuan knew that he didn't have much time left. He bit her neck hard. At that moment, Yuan Chu's soul was shocked and countless memories flooded her mind. She remembered, he was her little Yuan. The woman on the opposite side raised her weapon again. She fired 2 shots, but this time, Yuan Chu blocked the shots. Yuan Chu was finally awake. Yi Chenyuan was relieved. Then, he disappeared, but not before warning Yuan Chu not to get hurt. The woman looked on in horror. What were they, humans or ghosts? Yuan Chu glared at the woman. How dare she hurt her disciple? You deserve to die. With a wave of her hand, the attack pierced through the woman's head. She shattered, and turned into a bead. Yi Chenyuan, whose soul had returned, coughed up blood. In fact, he had to return as soon as he was hit. Luckily, his master finally woke up. But, his master was so restless, he couldn't stay here for 2 years. In reality, Yuan Chu was regaining her form. She felt pain all over her soul. But, luckily she had obtained the divine pearl. The dragon had also used a lot of his spiritual power to protect her heart. But, she was so weak that she couldn't even open her storage space. Wei Xingji came back and saw that she had woken up. Yuan Chu told him to take out some healing pills. Wei Xingji was hesitant, but he figured a prestigious immortal wouldn't be stingy. So, he gave her 3 grade 4 pills. Who knew, Yuan Chu would just eat them all like candy. She noticed that these pills were nothing but a drop in the bucket. Though her spirit was better, she still couldn't open her storage space. If she could have 10 gradeless pills, that would be good enough. Wei Xingji almost jumped. Even if he sold himself, he couldn't buy a gradeless pill. It would be better to talk about the inner door with Yuan Chu. Yuan Chu suddenly realized the sect leader might find out. If the sect leader found out about her injuries, he would lock her up for 10 years. She couldn't find the sect leader. Wasn't there Elder Li? Elder Li was a top alchemist in his life. Thinking of this, she decided to invite Wei Xingji to return to Fengchao with Yi Chenyuan. But, Wei Xingji suddenly took out a mask. The boy had been born with a human face on his back. He had been beaten since he was a child. So, he killed everyone in his village. Afraid that his enemies would find him, he didn't want to go back to Fengchao with Yuan Chu. Yuan Chu thought, Wei Xingji, you really are a big villain, so ruthless even when you were young. To lure Wei Xingji back with her, Yuan Chu bribed him with 3 gradeless pills and a grade 6 artifact. The two rented a car back. Yuan Chu told Wei Xingji that she only had a little bit of spiritual energy left to save her life, and that Wei Xingji had to protect her. Wei Xingji was speechless. That means, he had to be her bodyguard along the way. However, half a day later, Yuan Chu began to regret it. She was hungry. Wei Xingji gave her a pill that could last a month. She wanted to sleep. Wei Xingji was rushing to save the car fare. She really missed her adorable little Yuan. 5 days later, the two arrived at the border of Fengchao. Yuan Chu, who hadn't had snacks for a long time, drooled at the food along the way. The next second, Wei Xingji gave her a small box. Inside, there were spiritual fruit snacks. Yuan Chu thought that Wei Xingji's conscience had suddenly woken up. Who knew, Wei Xingji would have a stinky face and say that a girl had taken a fancy to her, and had given them to her. It's just that, he didn't like sweets, and it was a waste to throw them away. Yuan Chu was furious for being treated like trash. Which blind girl could possibly fancy her? Wei Xingji told her that he had to meet someone. Yuan Chu couldn't help but worry. After all, he had killed half a village. Wei Xingji understood her concerns, but he really wanted to go see. Yuan Chu, seeing his determined face, knew it must be someone important, so she agreed. Then, Wei Xingji brought her to a forest. Yuan Chu was curious, who was hidden here? Wei Xingji softly spoke, "It's my little sister." Soon, the two entered a cave. An unadorned grave stood alone. Normally, such graves were for those who were hiding from their enemies. This was the person that she would risk everything to see. Just let him grieve a little bit. Wei Xingji knew that they couldn't stay for too long. After a simple moment, he was ready to leave. But, suddenly a group appeared. The leader sneered, "Wei Xingji, you sure can hide." Wei Xingji pulled Yuan Chu behind him. They were still the same. Who knew they would find his sister, and kept watch here? He had also implicated Yuan Chu. He told Yuan Chu to run the first chance she got. They stood together against the odds. You know, Wei Xingji can't win. How could Yuan Chu stand by? But his current power was only enough for protection. Once he strikes, He was injured when he tried to help. If it goes on, they will all die. A Foundation establishment aura was released. Wei Shengqi, are you crazy? Yuan Chu's powerful aura flared. I'd like to see who dares to make a move. The opponents didn't expect Yuan Chu to be so strong. Sensing her murderous intent, they ran away. Yuan Chu immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. This old man is so abnormal. Always like giving people a hard time. Yuan Chu forcefully drove them away. Forcibly using her cultivation, she was hurt. She passed out, spitting blood. Wei Shengqi held her, and learned that only a Thrade regeneration pill could save her. Wei Shengqi felt guilty that she had gotten hurt to save him. Yuan Chu got more seriously injured to save him. He decided to go to auction for the pill. Meanwhile, Yi Chenyuan inexplicably entered a dream. In the dream, he was a strong adult. Yuan Chu had grown into a beautiful young girl. Dream Yuan Chu always playfully followed him, but adult Yi Chenyuan was cold to her. Yuan Chu confessed that she liked him. Little Yi Chenyuan's eyes widened. Master said she liked him. He wanted to say he liked her too. But why couldn't he speak? In the dream, adult Yi Chenyuan rejected his master. Little Yi Chenyuan felt heartache at seeing his master's disappointed expression. Why can't he leave this body? How could he? How could he make his master so sad? A deep voice interrupted him. I didn't expect your obsession to be so deep. This is how I found you. Yi Chenyuan, a man in black robes, appeared out of nowhere. The man chuckled. What do you feel when you see your past life? Past life, he remembered. The scene that appeared when Master's heart blood touched the heavenly pearl. That is what Master's love looks like. And the dream, he and his master must have had a deep connection. No wonder his feelings for Master are different. He likes Master. He wants to see her soon and tell her how he feels. The black-robed man knew Yi Chenyuan had remembered, but he wouldn't let that happen. He didn't want him to interfere with his plan. The black-robed man created dark chains and binded Yi Chenyuan. He was going to reseal the memories from Yi Chenyuan's past life. Yi Chenyuan's soul cried out. He finally realized his feelings for Master. How could he let his memories be sealed again? Suddenly he heard something familiar. It was Long Dan's urgent calls. Master must be in danger, but he couldn't get out in his current state. He had to force his soul out. The black-robed man didn't expect Yi Chenyuan to be so strong. He dared to let his soul leave right in front of him. Is that love or foolishness? When Yi Chenyuan's soul arrived by Yuan Chu's side, he realized her soul was collapsing and her life force was rapidly fading. He knew he couldn't wait any longer. The only way was soul fusion. His soul easily entered Yuan Chu's consciousness. To his surprise, Yuan Chu's consciousness didn't reject him at all. Did that mean? A transparent soul appeared before him. Yi Chenyuan wondered why Yuan Chu's soul was an adult, and why she was covered in chains. Before he could think, Yuan Chu covered his eyes. And he suddenly grew bigger. Yuan Chu looked at him with tearful eyes. I like you so much, why don't you like me? Even a little, just a little bit, was okay. Yi Chenyuan was heartbroken. He couldn't hold back. How could he not like her? He liked her so much that his heart ached. He would do anything for her. He kissed her lips. You can only be mine. A boy was born with a ghost on his back. Since childhood, he was considered an unlucky person and was exiled. This monster, someone actually wanted to protect him, and put herself in danger. To save Yuan Chu, Wei Shengqi was planning to go to the auction house to buy the regeneration pill. He was someone who had to ask the restaurant owner to give him an extra piece of meat. He actually spent low-grade spirit stones on a single pill. Now, other than his magic tool, he only had the pill left. As soon as he walked out the auction house, he was surrounded. One of them was the old man who had chased him that day. Wei Shengqi didn't expect to be found even with a mask. The leader was the young master of Wei Sheng family, Wei Shengyi. Wei Shengyi demanded he hand over the pill. Wei Shengqi refused. Please. Wei Shengyi lost his patience and attacked. Wei Shengqi knew he was no match. He turned to escape, but was still struck from behind. The pill bottle fell out of his pocket. Wei Shengqi quickly tried to catch it, but still couldn't stop it from being shattered. He was injured. Wei Shengqi quickly picked up the pill and used the blue spirit escape technique. He disappeared the next second. Wei Shengyi was furious. He let that monster escape. They picked up the pill and realized only half was left. Wei Shengyi was filled with rage. Yuan Chu must be alive. He would use the half pill to make amends. He sighed with relief. His body swayed. A small hand quickly supported him. Yuan Chu gasped. Why was Wei Shengqi so badly injured? She sent her energy into him, and discovered that his 4 fingers had been broken. He tasted the blood in his mouth. He realized he had been injured for this pill. She would kill them all. Wei Shengqi couldn't hold on any longer and passed out. At the same time, Wei Shengyi and the others found the hut. Just as they were about to break in, Yuan Chu's nascent soul aura exploded out, instantly sending everyone flying. Yuan Chu looked at Wei Shengyi coldly. 3 days later, is your death date. Shortly after, Yuan Chu took Wei Shengqi to a secluded forest. She discovered his storage space could finally be opened. She gave Wei Shengqi the regeneration pill. Soon, Wei Shengqi woke up. Yuan Chu sighed with relief when she saw him awake. But, he was injured and still needed treatment, she said as she was about to remove his clothes. Wei Shengqi screamed, and wildly shouted no. His entire face turned red. Yuan Chu laughed. What are you afraid of? You're injured, you can't do anything to me. Wei Shengqi was helpless. He was just afraid of scaring her. Yuan Chu didn't believe him. Nothing in this world can scare me. She told him to let her help. Wei Shengqi had no choice, but to take off his clothes. Big deal, just let them laugh at me one more time. Meanwhile, Yi Chenyuan's soul returned to his body, but found himself chained up. The black-robed man laughed. Yi Chenyuan was now vulnerable. The man put his hand on Yi Chenyuan's head, and forcefully extracted the memories of his and Yuan Chu's past lives. No, I finally remembered. When Yi Chenyuan woke up, the memories were gone. He felt empty, like he had lost something important. The boy wore a human face on his back. He thought it would scare the girl in front of him, but she was not afraid at all. This place where even his parents rejected him. Was this the first time someone touched him? After applying the medicine, the exhausted Wei Shengji fell into a deep sleep. Bored, Yuan Chu took out her soul mirror. She began to study why her soul had suddenly recovered. It was clearly about to collapse before. Could it be that the dragon egg had helped him? The dragon egg kept shaking.